bit here. Just find the right sweet spot there. There we go. Looks like I'm flying solo at the moment, so we'll hold off on saying hello to anybody. Give me a moment to set up over here on my laptop. Give me. Go to the studio, see if anybody gets the word. YouTube not sending any notifications out, I can see that. Is that me as live? Yeah, I'm live. There we go. New tab. Still nobody here. Got a like, but no viewers. Gotta love that, too. Alright, this says we got one viewer. Well, whoever that is, welcome to you. If it's a troll, thanks for coming anyway. Alright, so nobody in the chat. Nobody knows I'm here. Can you hear me all right? Well, just one person, so I don't expect anybody to respond. So, all right, folks, I'm at the airport in Birmingham, Alabama, with a bunch of noisy freaking kids walking by. They're running all over. These are teenagers running all over the airport like a bunch of yahoos. Anyway, my face looks kind of long over there. Looks straight here. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. And this lady here is getting a lot of steps in. She's been on the phone walking back and forth like 10 times throughout the airport past me. So I hope you guys well. You're not a troll. Well, I'm glad to hear you're not a troll. Or a droll. Well, that's good. Droll is funny in French. Droll. Brett Catherall, welcome to you. Hey, folks, welcome back. All right, so we built up a little bit of audience here, starting to get going. I got to talk to you about some things that are going on here, folks. So lots of people posting social media content on this today, specifically about the Department of State's Department of Democracy, Labor, and Democracy, and DRL. Anyway. The RL department, they apparently have a report that they went to South Africa to evaluate the situation for themselves, to inform the State Department and also the executive branch about what's actually happening in South Africa. They didn't need to do that. All they do is watch my channel. But they went there to gather information for themselves. And today they posted on their Twitter account some damning comments about the initial findings from their report. It doesn't look good for South Africa. I've seen that Ernst Roots has already produced something. Ronaldo Groos has already produced something. I did a short earlier, but I was busy at the time that story broke. I was with Errol Langton earlier today, and then I was with CNN, who was about to interview me when that story was breaking. So I only had time to do a short and didn't have time to do anything else. So here I am now. Anyway, what original disappeared? My original? What are you talking about, Rainer? Who's original? What are you talking about? Let me go back and see. My short's still there. Yeah, my short's there. It's there. It's public, no restrictions, and it has just 12,000 views. So which one are you talking about, man? Who's original? Because it was on Twitter that's published. You're talking about Ronaldo's publication. I don't know which one you're talking about. Hey, welcome to the 88 people currently here. 15 likes. Come on, guys. You can do better than that. Here I am at the airport. I should be relaxing, enjoying a Frappuccino, and I'm sitting here broadcasting you guys, let you know what the hell's going on in South Africa. Give me some likes. That's too much to ask. Trump sent Air Force One to reporters 2 hours ago. We won't, because of very bad politics. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Rainer Schulten. I'm still not sure what you're talking about there. Anyway. Now that's interesting. Philip Holtz, your message doesn't show up over here. Philip, you sent a message and it's in my studio, but it doesn't appear on the channel. You see what happens with YouTube, folks? I have Rainer Schulten, then the next message is work people. But Philip Holtz put a message up there and he's not appearing in my chat. Look at that. Look at that harassment by the Putu. What are they so afraid of? The truth? Oh, come on, get over themselves. Martinus Boats, good evening to you. Goedenand, South Africa. Ekist, Professor G. And Yella is been in South Africa. Sorry, I'm not making fun of Professor G. I just thought I'd have fun with that. Yeah, it is weird, Philip. Let me see if yours shows up. Yeah, that one there. That one's up, Philip. You must have put something in there that they didn't like, even though there's nothing wrong with it. Philip, it's not blocked. It's up. I just watched it. Can someone who's in South Africa try to see if they can see that video? I'll bring it up right now. Maybe it's blocked in Lesotho. Rainer, okay, here it is. Here's the video. Well, folks, things just keep getting worse. The outlook looks bad. The tariffs for South Africa are just a couple days away now, and what's happening? The Department of State's Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, DRL, has just returned from a trip to South Africa, assessing. Yeah, okay, so the funny thing about Gwede opening his K-Cold Gwede Mantashe is that South Africa imposes tariffs on U.S. poultry imports and puts barriers on our pork imports and puts quotas on automobile imports. So I guess he's defining South Africa as a bully. because they oppose tariffs. What a bunch of wusses. I mean, this is unbelievable what they're going through now. They're trying. Hey, Carlos, what's up? The nonsense they're trying to push now, the bigotry and racism, is just comical. I told you this is what they'll do. They'll blame Trump. They'll claim racism, when in fact the reason that the tariffs are there is because of the ANC's arrogance and their failure to negotiate with the U.S. Even today, so I have a report here from the IOL, and we have the South Africans trying to pretend that nothing is happening here. Let me find here very quickly. So here you go. There's some good. I'm going to make a couple short videos on this a little bit later, but South Africa's trade minister highlights impasse in negotiations with the U.S. over tariffs. Now that's comical. There's no impasse. There's no impasse. There's no conversation. So Ronnie Lamolle is trying to imply that there is actually negotiations going on here. They reaffirmed their commitment to finalizing a trade deal with the United States despite ongoing geopolitical, domestic, and trade challenges. In a statement issued today, Department of Trade, Industry, and Competition Minister Parks Tao stressed that a reset is unavoidable. Yeah. Well, they admit the reality now, that they failed to negotiate, and so something bad is going to happen. Yeah. In a statement, he said, South Africa took the decision not to retaliate to the reciprocal tariffs announced by the United States. Okay, see, what's lost on people here is that these tariffs are a retaliation by the United States against these countries for the tariffs they impose on us. South Africa puts quotas on our pork, or bans our pork, puts quotas on our automobiles, and puts tariffs on our chicken, whereas we give you duty-free access up until April anyway into our marketplace for 6,900 goods and services. So this argument by these idiots in South African politics are claiming that this is you're not going to retaliate. Of course you're not going to retaliate. These reciprocal tariffs are in response to tariffs. The automobiles that we ship to Europe have a 10% tariff on them. The automobiles they ship here have a 2.5% tariff. Now, how is that fair and just? And on top of that, these European countries all have value-added tax. A value-added tax, increase the cost of automobile precipitously. So you can buy a car in Sweden, it's going to cost you an additional 39% of what the same car would cost you in the States. Those are barriers. Those are trade barriers. They're intentional. They're keep people out of their marketplace. It's not fair trade. It's not free trade. It's garbage. And that's what Trump has done. So, we can hear these idiots in the ANC say they're not going to retaliate. Well, go ahead and retaliate, because Trump will just up the game. He will just up the game. And by the way, 30%, it may be 40%, folks. It's just a couple of days away now. No ambassador since the racist Ibrahim Rasool was sent home. No trade representative. Then the cartoon show that Cyril Ramaphosa pretended he appointed a special envoy in Kibisi Jonas, who never got accredited, never got a diplomatic visa, and never came to America, yet he still claims he's a special envoy. To what? He may be a special advisor, but he's not a special envoy. No trade delegation, no trade representative. And in fact, when we had the U.S. Africa Business Summit in Luanda 2 weeks ago, they didn't even send a real delegation. They sent a junior minister, a deputy minister, and a team of nobodies to negotiate with the U.S. on trade. It's a joke. What is this National Security News podcast interviewed? Okay, why don't you tell me about it, Nina? You're the third person that tells me go watch that. Okay, tell me what is it that I need to see that's in that podcast. Anyway, so they made the decision not to retaliate of these tariffs. We also want to reiterate that we have no intention of decoupling from the United States. You may have no intention of decoupling from the United States, but your behavior is going to lead to your decoupling by default. The Freedom Front Plus's Cornel Mulder came back to the States with a list of 4 preconditions before anyone's even going to be willing to talk to South Africa about trade. If in fact that's true, and by all indications it appears to be the case, there aren't even going to be trade negotiations. So this is all just, window dressing. This is just, for the masses, the uninformed, the low information voters. That's who it's for. South Africa remains dedicated to the process, awaiting substantive feedback from U.S. counterparts. You guys, there's not going to be any feedback. You haven't even addressed the 4 preconditions. You haven't addressed the things that the Trump administration told you behind closed doors after Ramaphosa embarrassed himself at the Oval Office in May. They haven't even addressed that. They were told, you must address this. Then we'll go. Jonas said on fake media today he never planned to go to the U.S. He's just an advisor. Well, that's interesting, Philip, because you see the ANC listens to me. Where did they get that terminology from? They listen to my broadcast because I'm the one that's been saying he's not an envoy. He's an advisor at best. He's a presidential advisor. And suddenly the ANC, after me announcing that for several days, now they're using the same language. I tell you guys, they watch the program. I know the EFF watches, I know MK watches, I know the DA watches. And by the way, shame on you, DA. You're a bunch of cowards. A bunch of cowards. Are you a bunch of misogynists browbeating Emma Powell into resigning? Disgraceful. You people sent her to Israel, and then you attacked her and others who went there because you got caught. You sent her to D.C., and when the cowards print fake news about a treason investigation, you don't back her. You are the jellyfish sway. You are the jellyfish, the Democratic Alliance. What a disgrace. I don't know how anybody joined a political party like that. I don't know how anybody joins. They are spineless. Yeah, they're just flopping out there on the beach. There's nothing to them. Granny here, I'm really depressed. The awful country will be better tomorrow. Hey, RG, I hope it gets better. Keir Stain. I didn't see Keir Stain's. I didn't see what Keir Starmer had to say. I do know that apparently he announced that the United Kingdom will recognize an independent state of Gaza. Well, this is foolhardy. So that's two heads of state who, or leaders of political countries, who have a personal issue with Donald Trump, and so they're going to upset decades of diplomatic positions by recognizing a non-existent country. This is not going to go well. So Emmanuel Macron, when he's not busy being pimp slapped by his wife, or husband, whatever you guys claim, I don't know, by his wife, when he's not busy being pimp slapped and cuckolded by his wife, I guess he's busy, whining about Trump. And now Keir Stains is also doing it. So shame, 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 shame. All right, so this is what the ANC claims that they've offered to the United States. Energy imports, as much as 750 to 100 petajoules of liquefied natural gas over a 10-year period, which would generate $12 billion. That's a drop in the bucket for the U.S. $12 billion, we don't even get out of bed for $12 billion. We go that much more in deficit every hour. Who cares about $12 billion? Agricultural market access, streamlining poultry exports under the 2016 tariff rate quota. So Greta Montasha is complaining about countries being bullies that have tariffs. Here you go. They've offered to cut the tariffs that they have on our poultry. You see, they're the bullies. They're the bullies. So, potentially unlocking $91 million. $91 million. Gosh, ladies and gentlemen, the United States economy just, hang on a second, wait for it, just generated $100 million worth of economic output. Hang on. Another $100 million economic output. You think that is going to get their attention? Give me a break. South African investments to U.S., they plan to invest $3.3 billion in U.S. industries, including mining and metals. I don't really think we want South Africans buying up our minerals, so I don't know why that's supposed to be a positive thing. And then joint investment opportunities. Governments will work together in investments in critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, and agricultural machinery. We don't need pharmaceuticals from South Africa. We have our own. We don't need agricultural machinery from South Africa. We have John Deere and Case and McCormick and others. Yeah, so I don't really get that. And tariff exemptions. Now we're talking. Certain sectors may be exempt from reciprocal tariffs. Well, they want to. So this is all. The only thing they're doing for us is buying liquefied natural gas. There's no access to Korea rare earth elements. There's no access to marketplaces. I mean, they're going to lower tariffs on chicken. Whoop-de-doo. You think that's going to offer something? It's ridiculous. They're not offering anything here. This is a joke. It's an absolute joke. TikTok live tonight where Jen said 4 on living in the last few weeks in this area. Wow, that's crazy. Greta Thunberg's mom agreed to the deal. I didn't hear about that. Speaking of spineless, I got into from Home Affairs today. Somehow my payment, my passport is outstanding, even though I have the damn receipt. I don't know what you do, Nikki. I don't know what you do. I mean, if you've got the receipt, take it to them, and they're just idiots. What's happening against Israel has caught us all slipping in how this is done by design. Okay, yeah, I don't know what we're talking about specifically there. You paid, they put $1,200 in pockets. Well, then they're thieves. Then report their theft. Report the theft. Not that it'll do anything. Nina Osborne says, would like your take on the National Security News podcast. Okay, again, why? What? Quit asking me my take. I haven't seen it. Tell me what you saw, and then I'll comment on it, guys. I mean, I'm sitting in an airport. I mean, I don't know what you want me to do here. Hey, John Hoochin, been a while, man. Where you been hiding at? How far will the GNU go before they listen? How far will the GNU go before they fall? Well, the GNU is not going to fall because they're all part and parcel to this corrupt enterprise, and they love it. Can we go to the media with Home Affairs and Competence? Yeah. What you do, folks, what you do is you contact, try Independent Line, try IOL, try News 24. They like to, and Yale Tepper says, Ich bin ein Afrikaner. You sound like a German. For what? Nothing will happen. I got my passport left, my passport that had to pay double because of their shit crime. Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you then. You tolerated that, and I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing I can do about it. It's done and dusted. It's over. So that's a shame. Yes, I'm flying home. It's not classified, Philip Hopes. I'm returning home. I finished my mission here, and I'm headed home. Unfortunately, I have one stop because I live in a tiny podunk town with an airport the size of a postage stamp, and so I have to go through major airports. Coming down, I had to go through Atlanta. Good news is going back, I don't have to go through Atlanta. But I do have to go out of my way and fly longer than I need to. At least coming to Atlanta was in this general direction. This time I have to go a different direction to stay in the same time zone, flying to Detroit, and then from Detroit back to Pennsylvania. So, yep, that's what's happening. Anyway, folks, be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done it. 463 of you here at this late hour, South Africans. It's already after 10 o'clock in Namibia and South Africa. Welcome. Okay, thank you, Nina. Loved your blogs. What blogs are you talking about, Patches? Talking about my Twitter post or the shorts that I've been doing? Yep. Lose that video downloaded just a couple months ago. What is the name? I don't know the name off the top of my head. It's Kubu, I think it is. Kubu, Kubo, I think is the name of it, if I recall correctly. So, yeah, you can look that up. It's on my desktop, but I'm not there. Yes, Chris Ehlers, we do have post offices, and they do function. Not well, but they do function. They are just a money pit, but they're not like the South African Postal Service, which is non-existent. Yeah, but the problem with the postal today is most of what they deliver is junk mail, because regular mail rarely comes. Slippery pickle. What's happening? Well, the Department of State sent a team over to South Africa to investigate the situation on their own, and today they released preliminary information. Now, one of the viewers on my videos posted that they had read the report, and it's really, really bad. I haven't seen the report. I just saw the Twitter post that came from the Department of State, from that bureau, DLR, and Democracy, Labor, and what's the other one? Anyway, those guys, I read that report, their comments, but I haven't seen the report, so I'd like to find a report. I went searching online, I couldn't find it. Is the ANC in talks with America? No, they're not. In what talks? Who's talking? Ronnie Lamola is in South Africa. John Cena is in South Africa. Ramaphosa in South Africa. Mashatile is in South Africa. And Kabisi Jodas is not a special envoy. And Ibrahim Rasool has been Rasooled. Who's talking to the Americans? The junior counselor at the embassy? That's not going to do anything. Chris says, can I come there? Safe travels. Answer this interview. Understand why you differ. I'm also on the road. What do I differ on Ernst Lurt's interview? I don't know what you're talking about, Werner. Please tell me. I mean, that's kind of a left field. You threw voltage out there. Yeah. Here from Deburban. Now, one guy say we have to have blood shirt and know what else to apply. What? What is a blood shirt? What are you talking about? Louis, what are you talking about? No, Cockpot 24 has said the U.S. is misinformed farm murders. They've said it many times. They're there for their own benefits. Exactly. You're welcome, Maggie Jensen, but I need, Elsie says, Home Affairs said that the biometric of my son's passport didn't go through properly. They have to reapply and pay again. You don't have to pay again. You pay once. If they screw up, that's on them. See, this is just a way to steal money from people. Don't tolerate it, folks. You paid for a service. They failed. It's on them. They have to do it at no cost to you. That's how a real country works. Don't settle for the African graft and corruption and theft that you're dealing with here. Hold them to a candle. Thank you for what you've done for me. I'm going to win this battle with Home Affairs one way or the other. Nikki, I hope so. I hope so. I don't know what I did personally, but I'm glad. No talks, no agreement, no deal, just a gaslighting around polls. Yep. Maybe the State Department can release Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Oh, Werner, I was there at that where he said that. Okay, so I've said this before. When you say we have a different view, we don't have a different view. Okay, let me be very clear about this. Ladies and gentlemen, it does not matter if 3,000, 30,000, 300,000 Afrikaners leave South Africa under the U.S. Refugee Resettlement Program. It doesn't matter. Afrikaners will remain in South Africa. They are African. They are of Africa. They sprang from Africa. It's a culture and a language that developed in Africa. They are African tribe. To quote a leftist journalist back in the 1980s, white tribe dreaming, because they are a white tribe, predominantly, and colored as well. But they will always be there. And there are 2.8 million Afrikaners currently living in South Africa. And even if you take 1 million of them away, they will still be there, and they will repopulate. It's as simple as that. I mean, there are only 30,000 Afrikaners a century and a half ago, and now there's, 5 million of them around the world, or 4 million. So they're always going to be there. But that doesn't mean people aren't going to come here. So that's what the message I think Ernst was trying to get across. But many have inferred that Ernst is trying to dissuade you from becoming a refugee. I'm not encouraging, I'm not dissuading you. You do what you have to do for yourself. You live in your shoes. It's your existence. And look, unless you're Shirley MacLaine or a Buddhist, you get one shot at this. You get one shot. There's no reincarnation. You may be an afterlife, but this existence is its existence, and you got to make the most of it. And if you're suffering because of unjust racial discrimination, you shouldn't. People never should have been enslaved in this country. They suffered unjust racial discrimination. People never should have been denied their rights under Jim Crow. Unjust racial discrimination. People were denied access to law school because of affirmative action. Unjust racial discrimination. No one should suffer any injustice because of an immutable fact of their skin color. You didn't pick it. You didn't choose it. It's a result of nature. And bigots and racists who focus on people's skin color ought to be horsewhipped in public squares on a daily basis. Just saying. Just saying. Must have been beaten near to death to apply a refugee program. Who said that? That's nonsense. Venadron, thank you for the 50 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. If the U.S. sanctions on any sailors become law, do you think things will change? Ben, I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I wouldn't hold my breath on it. Because they'll try to work around initially. They'll find out it doesn't work. Look, I mean, you can sit here and talk big smack, hey, sanctions don't mean anything. But let me tell you something. Emerson Mnangagwa has been kissing up to the U.S. for about 5 months. Why? Because he's leaving office. He's got a fortune that he got illegitimately. It's in dollars. He can't spend it because he can't go to UK. He can't go to the US. And he wants to go enjoy himself in his 80s instead of being stuck in Zimbabwe with no electricity and no air conditioning. So he's been sucking up to the US. So when they get gray listed, or when they get their banking accounts frozen, they can't use MasterCard, Visa, Discover, or American Express, they'll quickly find out that Xi Jinping has no alternative financial plan for them for a widely accepted. You have Bank of Japan credit card, but that's one exception. So they will quickly find out that their arrogance and their stupidity and their foolhardiness will not work. So we'll see how long it takes, but initially it will have no impact because they'll try to work around it. But the only way they go around is carry bags full of cash. That's what the Iraqis did for a long time. We saw that in their palaces. The Zulus and Afrikaners actually came to South Africa about the same time. Actually, that's not accurate, Chronic. I'm sorry, the Zulus were long established in South Africa before Afrikaners, but they didn't exist as a nation. There was no Zulu nation. As a nation, they came long after the Afrikaners, and that's where the history gets, people script the history. So the people who became the Zulu were already resident in the KwaZulu-Natal geographic area long before Afrikaners settled in the Western Cape. Afrikaners came as Dutch, then French Huguenots, Germans, and the Khoi and San mixing, as well as the slaves brought in from Phoenicia. That started 1652. By that point, there were already black Africans well past Amazimtoti and Margate down that way. They're well past that. So they were there, and that's where the Zulu came from. But they weren't a nation, they weren't a people until Shaka forged an empire by murdering the people who wouldn't join his team and creating an empire. So that empire was created just before the Voortrekkers moved north into the Orange Free State and over the Drakensberg. So that's the difference there, okay? 100 years? No. You're not hearing what I said. You're hearing what you want to hear. I said they were well established by that time. They had been there sometime before that. We have archaeological and DNA evidence, and we have evidence to prove that the Nguni-speaking peoples, the Bantu peoples, crossed the Limpopo, the Zambezi and then Limpopo, about 1,600, 1,300 years ago. Zambezi about 1,600, Limpopo about 1,300 years ago, roughly. There's no magic sauce here, but over a millennium, they've been in South Africa. Now, they didn't reach the West Coast because they came down and they went into the Free State, some of them. The others went down the other side of the Drakensberg. They populated Mozambique, they went down, they populated KwaZulu-Natal, and then worked their way across Eastern Cape. And it wasn't until the 19th century when some of them, in large numbers, began moving west, and the Trek Boers, which weren't Trek Boers, moved east, and they met at the Great Fish River, roughly speaking. They fought 5 wars over the course of about 60 years, amongst them, 50, 40, 60 years, 5 wars, major wars. And then at the end of this period, the English betrayed the Mlungu, who were their allies, black Africans, and disarmed them and stole their land from them. And then the Afrikaners, the Trek Boers, moved north, many of them. So that's the true history, that's the facts. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not an Afrikaner, I'm not a Zulu. I'm just stating the facts as they are as a historian, okay? Some people don't want to agree with that, but that's life. We have the evidence of it, we have the receipts. He's going to change the better, okay. What if there's more Afrikaners in other countries than South Africa? Philip, there may very well be. There's 2.8 million in South Africa. If I go in properly informed, receipt in hand, what can I use as a backup, as it would be spiteful? If did it come out of your bank account as a credit card? Show your bank statement. Don't let them copy it and take the number off it because they'll probably rob you. But show the bank statement. That's another proof. Ask to speak to your supervisor. And if they don't do anything, then say, well, then I'll have to call the police because you're not willing to work with me. I guess there's a crime being committed here, or give me my money back. You just have to make a stink. You have to be smart about it. Charlie says you're referring to Professor Gene. You totally misunderstood what he said. What did Charlie say that I missed? By the way, I'm very happy to see 600 people here with a short, no-notice video. Okay, I'm trying to get my chat to go up, and it's not playing nice. There we go. I don't see anything from Charlie. Myself and Aaron have a personal disagreement, but that is not here. The U.S. has been extremely generous, and it's a lifeline for many of us, literally. White population has declined to 7.1%, decline of more. Yeah, it is, just in the past 5 or 6 years. It's going to change. What is there from, okay, and if I go, okay. Bets Corp gave a 14 rand super chat. Thank you for that. Colonel has a quantum computer memory of info. Yeah, up here, yes. Chris, you look thinner, lost weight. I wish I was losing weight. Yeah, I'm on a slim man disease like Julius Malema. 3.8 million worldwide. That's probably an accurate number. I think it's probably closer to 4.2, but you know, I could be wrong. Dinah Humpel, how's it going? It's a good idea. I paid cash, but again, I do have the receipt. Get SAPs involved. Nice thinking. Yeah. Now, SAPs may never come, but if you threaten and you make a phone call while you're standing in front of them, I'm sorry. Okay, so here's my receipt. You're not recognizing my receipt. You're telling me I didn't pay, and I have to pay again. The problem is I paid you. So, you know, we can settle this very easily. I will call the South African Police Service right now. Hang on. Give me a second. And call them. And even if they don't come, just talk to them. Pretend like, you know, they're coming. All right, well, I'll be here. A half hour? Well, I mean, that's actually pretty quickly. I mean, I can wait a half hour. Yeah, play them, guys. Play them. Put the fear of God in these thieves. Spade is spade. Whites are suppressed in South Africa. Black people can, in fact, be racist. All of us have seen. Yeah, guys, I was interviewed today, and the tenor of the questions I was asked, it gave me the impression that people asking me the questions aren't convinced that white people are victims of racism, that only white people can be racist. They didn't say that, but that was the sense I got. So I disabused them of that. We'll see if any of that makes it through the cutting room floor. I don't like Bunny Chow. I don't like Bunny Chow. Yes, I was in Howick. I've been to Howick several times. My friend John Tungay, he's the founder of the Drakensberg Boys Choir and also the Drakendale Choir. He lives in Howick, and I've been there several times in the past few years. Lovely people, John and his wife. Yep. Well, Colonel, you know more about history of my country than most people know exactly. Look here. Thank you very much, Louis. I appreciate that. Yeah, so this all gets conflated. You get Afrikaners, you get part of the story from maybe Opa or Oma, or maybe they just read something or heard something and want to believe it. Look, I mean, there were no white folks in South Africa, but there were no black folks in South Africa either if you go back 2,000 years ago. The only people in South Africa at that time were Khoi and San. Yeah. And we have the archaeological evidence, we have linguistic evidence, we have the DNA evidence, we have the remains of these people, we have some artifacts of their culture. You can find these things. The artifacts of culture are more difficult because there weren't a lot of metal tools, mostly stone stuff. But we have that evidence. And then about 1,600 years ago, the Bantu-speaking peoples who started in Cameroon and West Africa migrated across the center and then into the Uganda area, and they ran into tribes that did not fall for them. They couldn't defeat the Neolithic tribes that were in that area, so they went south. And they went down the Great Rift Valley. And over centuries, they migrated. They were cattle herding people, and they moved down. And they eventually ran into the Pygmies in the Congo, and they displaced the Pygmies, chasing them further into the jungle. They kept going south, displacing peoples. And eventually, they crossed the Zambezi River, and then later the Limpopo River, entering what is today South Africa proper. But they didn't arrive in South Africa proper until about 1,300 years ago. About 1,000 years before Europeans set up permanent settlement there. So SAPS is more corrupt. Yeah, look, it doesn't matter, William. You know, look, okay, it's called a bluff, okay? You call the real number, but you don't expect anything to happen. You know, some people actually still fear authority, and you can take that chance. But I mean, if you just complain about it, then it's on you. If you don't take any action, legal, non-lethal action, to get people to do what they're supposed to do, then it's really difficult to get you to get anything for you. You know, so. Sorry, I'm just watching somebody walking by with leggings that are very tight and highly inappropriate because I saw camel toe from 35 meters. Very pronounced camel toe. That's just inappropriate. I'm sorry. I mean, if you want to make a porn or if you want to hang out in a nightclub, maybe, but walking through an airport, man, that was just, I'm sorry. That was just woke. That was wrong. Yeah, guys, I did look. I did look. When will I be the Overberg again? You know, Terminator, when you say the Overberg, you mean up in the mountains or just down in Gordon's Bay area? I don't know. It just depends. Hey, Nicey, how you doing? Oh, that's not Nicey, that's Nikki. Exactly that. I'm pretty pissed off. This has cost me over 1,000. Counting multiple calls. Yep. Nikki, I can't promise you anything, but it's an approach. It might work. It might work. Yes, Chris, it's inappropriate. Very inappropriate. Yes, E.T. Gardens, you came in late. I'm at the airport. Louis and the blood shirt rumor. Oh, Louis Liebenberg. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking, Charlie. I missed that. Chris Ells, welcome to you. Geese, camel. Somebody's flossing. Philip says, do you know any organization that one can join to do unpaid work like old age homes? Thank you for your first unpaid time for minorities. You're welcome, and thank you for 140 Rand. It kind of pays for a few moments of my time. Yeah, there are lots of things you can do. You can volunteer for veterans organizations. You can help with old age facilities. You can be a volunteer at hospitals. I mean, America is a country that is founded on volunteerism. See, I'm in the airport. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, so where was that? Lots of volunteer organizations. It's part of the American net. But I will say this: the last 15 or so years, it's become frayed. It's difficult to get people to volunteer anymore. It used to be so easy. But I'll tell you what. Yesterday, I met this guy, Scotty Black, at the VFW, Post 668 in Birmingham, Alabama. And they're only open one day a month, their canteen, but they do provide parking for sports events, which makes a lot of money for them. They also, not just parking, they also host dances and things like that. So they generate revenue. But for veterans, they do help some veterans out. And he was telling me, so Scotty was talking to me, he says, yeah, no, I used to live up north, and my daughter lives down here, so I come down, and I work here, I volunteer at the VFW, and then I also volunteer at old folks home there and give some folks some help. I was a volunteer up at the hospital on the 8th floor, but they made some changes up there, so I'm not up there anymore. But I used to do that all the time. It makes me feel good giving back. I'm giving back to my community. So anyway, Scotty, really nice guy, but I love the accent. It was great. He was nice to talk to, man. It's like having a nice talk with a nice Southern gentleman. Hard worker, works with his hands. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty well. Is it a surprise? Yes, it is a surprise live stream, Pearl, with VitBoy, because I didn't know if I'd be at the airport. I was there for Earl's interview, and then they interviewed me at a different location. And my interview didn't last that long. I don't think, we'll see what makes it out of the cutting room floor if I even make it into the documentary. I didn't leave with a warm fuzzy that I gave them what they were looking for. I think they were looking for recognition. I could be misspeaking, but I got the sense they were looking for recognition for me to say that it's not fair that white South Africans get to come to America. And I made one point I did make is that, where was the world at when 13 million Germans were evicted from the Eastern Territories in 1945 and 4 million of them died en route? Gang raped by Polish gangs, by Soviet soldiers, gunned down by machine guns on aircraft from the Soviet Union, strafing refugee columns. Nobody had this concern about refugees then. They were kicked out of homes by their own Germans who didn't want them when they came to what became East Germany and West Germany. 14 million people fled. And there was no concern about refugees, and they were all white, and they were treated like crap. So so I made the point. I said, y'all, not y'all, but people keep bringing this thing up about Trump and white and Afrikaners. It's not for them. This is for a bunch of people, and I explained that. And then it came up again. I said, but I noticed not a single major news organization is talking about the fact that Afghan refugees are coming to America again. Oh yeah, and the people who were frozen back in January when the program was suspended for 9 days, they're also coming over now. But not one news organization is reporting this. I know this because I've confirmed refugees arrived in Las Vegas. Afghan refugees. So this is such a double standard. It's such a lie. And I don't understand why people are so demented. Why can't you just treat people fairly and equally? You should treat people the way you want to be treated. It's a golden rule. It's as simple as that. And everybody should be treated equally and fairly. I don't know why that's so difficult for some people. But white leftist liberals just are stuck on stupid. I mean, their needle is stuck in the groove. They are stuck on stupid. Well, Lindy, it depends. There's all kinds of Southern accents. I mean, I used to live in West Virginia, and some folks in West Virginia they got themselves interesting accent. Now people speak differently down here. I mean, some of the phrases you hear. Now I understand them because I'm American. But some of the things people down here be saying be a little bit different. Now I've been putting my little bit of Southerners inside me, but that Southern is from Maryland, and in Maryland we say hun. We say hun to everybody. It's short for honey. So how you doing, hun? Now a lot of people assume you just say that to ladies, but you say it to young men too. Thank you, hun. Now here people don't pay no netter mind. They ain't got no problem with me saying hun. Well, I'll tell you, when I say that in Pennsylvania, some people look at me like funny. Are you chatting me up? You looking for a date? No. I'm just being polite. Where I'm from, that's what people say. How you doing, hun? What's up, hun? Thank you, hun. Short for honey. Anyway. The only news that can be sensational is picked apart. Yes. Many years after, did Germany ask if their citizens should be willing to go back? Those that fled invited back because it was safe again. They've never gone back. They gave Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin stole Silesia, Pomerania, and Ostpreußen and gave it to the Soviet Union and Poland. They also stole the eastern third of Poland and gave it to the Soviet Union to form Belarus. Lvov is a Polish city. It's not Ukrainian. It's not Ukrainian. It's a Polish city, built by Poles, inhabited by Poles, stolen by the Soviet Union and given to the Ukrainians. So, no, the Germans never went back. Kaliningrad is what was Königsberg. But there's no empathy for those white people. No, none whatsoever. Clip when you claim that Cyril had been held prisoner in his own country for months and the threat of arrest warrants, and I just... Guys, people are just making... Look, they have no shame whatsoever. I've already seen a couple content creators be like, Chris, you got to get this guy, you got to get this guy, you got to get him in channel. And I watched 2 videos. And both the videos had total poppycock, total propaganda, total clickbait stuff, total lies. I'm not going to disparage the content creator because maybe very good, but people are asking me to bring someone on my channel that I've openly caught lying about something. I'm not going to do that. I've already taken a risk in bringing people on nobody ever heard before. But anyway, because people ask. But I'm not going to bring that guy on until that guy explains to me what he's talking about. Zimbabwe family to us. Jean Coetzee, okay, lots of Zimbabwean families came to the U.S. in 2000 and... When was that? 2004, when I got my Toyota 4Runner. And then I loaded it onto the Amtrak car carrier, shipped it to Florida on the train, got off the train, took the truck down to Miami, parked it, took a cruise in the Caribbean, came back, and then drove back up, went past Atlanta, went to Stone Mountain, then went into North Carolina, Western North Carolina, up into the hill country in Western North Carolina. I was at a Hampton Inn, and they asked me something because I showed them a military ID card for a discount. And then they asked me about the Army, where I'm at, and I said, no, I'm stationed in Africa. Oh, Africa, you worked in Africa? I said, yeah. We have an African lady that works here. She cleans the rooms somewhere. I said, oh, that's interesting. So the next morning, the cleaning lady came through, and I said, oh, are you the lady from Africa? And she said, yeah, I'm from Zimbabwe. I said, oh, really? Well, how long have you been here? I've been here a few months, and we're very grateful. We were able to come over. They let us come over. She was white, of course. It was a white farmer's wife who came over, and there aren't many of those folks who came over, so I don't know who she was, but I met her. Yeah, she's from Zimbabwe. We talked a lot about Zimbabwe. Did I get a response to what? Yes, that's almost the approach I heard from people interviewing me today. It's almost like it's okay for white people to be discriminated against and be, and the question was trying to build up like, well, there's people who are upset that because of DEI and all this stuff, things have gone so far the other way. Look, folks, you don't create a wrong or right a wrong with another wrong. You don't fix racism by being racist. You don't adjust the scales of the balance by putting your thumb down against one side. Nobody benefits from that. Nobody's better off. Having unprepared people fail out of law school because they got in because of their skin color, it doesn't help that person. It doesn't help the system. Having unqualified people have government jobs because of their skin color, it doesn't help them. What you do is you fix education. You ensure that there's a level playing field. The government ensures that people are treated fairly. That's the role of government. Everyone has a path to walk, and you've chosen to help and guide people. Respect, red carpet, affluent. Well, thank you, Kyle. You have no idea. Dude, I wrote a presidential data brief for President Bush that kept 640,000 black Africans in Southern Africa from starving to death. So I'm comfortable with, when I meet my maker, I feel pretty good. I'll be all right. Whatever sins I've created probably get absolved by that one act. So, but people have no idea. That's why it's so funny to see people attack me and call me stupid names. Then end affirmative action or whatever it's called now. Hold affirmative action has basically been eviscerated. It's been destroyed. One Supreme Court case after another has destroyed affirmative action. It's a racist policy. It's gone, for the most part. I'm going to go now. I'm just going to search for, please contact me both of them. Okay, all right, good deal. Consumers realize they messed it up. Now to fix it, plenty of money, plenty of time, and regime change. Been off a month and my pension is still at the first step. Well, that's crazy. 640, but the cock price, yes, Said Afrikaner, yes. That's a correct statement. That's not an embellishment. It wasn't the figure that I came up with. The Famine Early Warning Network system are the ones who published that figure. I ran a report for the president that saved over 500,000 people. And never mind the thousands of lives I've saved or played a role in saving by building HIV clinics in 6 countries in Africa, running HIV programs, running Ebola programs, running Ebola research programs, peacekeeping to stop conflict. Never mind all that, Never mind the schools and clinics and things that I built that benefit overwhelmingly black people in Africa. Yeah, never mind all the black people that work for me or the Asians or they just say the most outlandish things because they're racist. They look at you and they form a world opinion based on how you appear. I've just watched a bunch of people walk by. White people, black people, Asians, I'm not forming any opinions about any of those people. I can have comments to myself, but it won't affect my behavior towards them unless they take an action. Simple as that. As Dr. King said, I believe in judging people on the content of the character, not the color of their skin. Simple as that. Flashing, folksy. Okay. Who's flashing up on it? What? There should be no discrimination. There should be no discrimination for anybody. Just told reporters no, he's not going to G20 because he's having a lot of problems with the South African government. Just straightforward, no beating around the bush. Yep. It's called morals, ethics, and empathy. Exactly. Exactly. Salute. With your years of service, do you think if things get super bad, U.S. would send military? No, I wouldn't count on that left. But if President Trump is president, you don't know. I mean, he'll play wild cards. I don't think we'll see any U.S. military going to South Africa for anything at all. Yeah, the DA is becoming the junior ANC. Got to go milk the cows. All right, Minnesota, you milk the cows at 2:40 or 3:44 in the afternoon? What's the milking time? I always milk my cows at 5 a.m. and 5:30 in the evening every day. So you're milking them at 4 o'clock, okay? You must have Holsteins produce a lot of milk, so you got to relieve those udders. We had Jerseys, richer, more butterfat. Actions speak louder than words. Leading is a thankless job, but someone has to do it. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you recognizing that. I actually have led. You know, earlier we were joking around last night. I said, you know, I think Arctic was saying South Africa's biggest problem is it doesn't have any leaders. And after, or it was this morning, the resignation of Emma Powell proves that, you know, there's no leaders. If you stand up and do what's right, moral, and just in South Africa, you're a sacrificial lamb because the criminals, the scumbags, they get their way. So I think the argument here is a fair argument. And, you know, being a leader is not easy, you know. First herd check. Oh, gotcha. Holsteins? We had Jerseys and a couple Guernseys and Holstein, but most of what we did was Jerseys. They're fantastic dairy cows. Can't wait for August 1st. ANC wakes up. Well, by the way, folks, I have a news story for you. I'm going to make a video on this one probably when I get home. But Byrna Technologies, okay? Byrna Technologies is a non-lethal firearm manufacturer based in Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. So the tariffs have already had an impact. On March 12th, they shut down their ammunition factory in South Africa. So they used to produce ammunition for non-lethal firearms in South Africa. So the plant was in South Africa. And here I've got the press release, and they shut it down. So the tariffs have already cost you jobs, and people are not paying attention. I've warned people for months about this. So March 13th, Byrna Technologies, a personal defense technology company specializing in development, manufacture, and sale of innovative, less lethal personal security solutions, today announced its first U.S.-based ammunition production facility in Fort Wayne, Indiana, 5 miles from their launcher production facility. Yeah. So they're going to produce with a 116-hour weekly work schedule, 2 shifts Monday through Thursday, and a weekend shift, 150,000 customized rounds for their firearms. Now, those firearms were produced in South Africa until March. Yeah. So they're no longer produced in South Africa. So all those jobs, gone, because they anticipate the tariffs. When the threat of tariffs was materializing as President Trump came into office, these guys were ahead of the game. They realized that only 32% of the production material in their firearms was actually made in the United States. Now 93% is produced here. So they still get some stuff from overseas, but most of the stuff won't be subject to tariffs, which will save them a fortune, even though they're going to have to pay more for labor and for medical insurance and Social Security and taxes. But hey, so Byrna Technology has already abandoned South Africa. And we hear, you know, Parks Tao talking out his backside and Cyril Ramaphosa making false claims about all kinds of things. These people know what they're talking about. They're not successful businessmen. They're not even successful political leaders. They're just scumbags who are loyal to Latuli House. And that's all you need to be, is loyal to Latuli House. You don't have to be competent. We've seen this for years. Competency doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It has no impact whatsoever. If competency were a keystone for cabinet selection, why is Parks Tao, Kumbutsu Nchiveni, Angie Mocheka, Minister 30%, Ronnie Lamola, why are these people in cabinet? These are retreads who failed in their previous ministerial positions. It's not even a joke. It's sad. And who suffers? You know who suffers the most from all of this? I've said it many times. Black South Africans. They suffer the most. They suffer the most from this corrupt, inept kleptocracy. Patronage-based. And I've had this conversation before. I've told people, I said, there's very little difference between the National Party and the ANC. It's just a question of who they enrich. The National Party enriched Afrikaners, but they hired competent ones. The ANC's enriched whoever they want, but they hire incompetents and thieves. And that's the bottom line with that. So, Emma Powell, fair proves there's persecution, I think is the word you want, Phil. Persecution. I think making that leap is a little bit of a stretch, but not impossible to say that what happened to Emma Powell is persecution. I would agree with that, but I think it's a little bit of a stretch. But you can use it as a point to make there, absolutely. But look at the Roman Kabanak situation, Ronaldo Chlis, then you've got Andrew Whitfield, and now you've got Emma Powell. All the people who are supporting the DA, inside the DA, except for Kabanak, who was a government employee but working for the DA minister, all of them supporting the DA's mission to improve South Africa. And every one of them in a sacrificial land for the weak-willed, callow, which is synonymous. It's kind of redundant saying weak-willed and callow. It's the same thing. The callow, lack of backside by the jellyfish party that is become the Democratic Alliance. It's pathetic. I don't, you know, can Helen Zille live with herself? She built an incredible party, and they've just pissed it all down the drain. And they're doing it all on the altar of the government of national unity. What have they accomplished? What about Emma Powell, John? Yes, Ramaphosa does want more people to come forward. Yes, hundreds of local businesses are closing in South Africa. It is a massive disaster, MJ, and they're whistling past the cemetery. We have Parks Towel saying they're negotiating with America. There's no one here negotiating. This is a lie. It's fake news. It's propaganda. There is not a single trade negotiator in Washington, D.C. I can confirm this. I know the people that do this. They're not negotiating. There's no one there. The only representation South Africa has is a junior counsel at the embassy. And that person's not negotiating trade with the U.S. Trade Representative. They were busy negotiating with Indonesia last week and with the EU this week. No time for the ANC that doesn't bother to show up. The ANC can't even be bothered to show up. The ANC can't even be bothered to show up at the U.S. Africa Business Summit that occurs annually. This one was in Luanda. Less than a 2-hour flight. They didn't even show up. Was Paul Mashatile there? No. Ramaphosa? No. Parks Towel? No. John Steenhuisen? No. Nobody. A deputy trade minister went. Of course, at the same time, they sent a deputy foreign minister to sign the condolences book for Iran after the U.S. bombed their nuclear facilities. Yeah. Condolences. Sorry your nuclear program was blown up. We stand in solidarity with you. Yeah, that was a real good optic when you're trying to negotiate with the Trump administration or with the U.S. Yeah, you're going to give condolences for people because their nuclear power plants or their nuclear research facilities for weapons were destroyed. Yeah, okay, empathy for that. It's not like somebody bombed a baby milk factory or children were killed or civilians were killed. No, a nuclear arms production facility for enriching uranium to produce nuclear weapons was destroyed, and they signed a condolence book on that. I mean, that's not the side of the angels, folks. I don't care what your view is in foreign policy. That is not the side of the angels. It's not the side of the angels. Unbelievable. Look, you know, it's like they might as well just put nets up everywhere on the field. They could put all the ANC players on the pitch, put a net over here, put a net over here, and just give all of them a ball. Let them kick, because every time they take a step, they're going to score an own goal anyway. These people are dumber than a box of rocks. As I said many times, Bill Engvall got it right. Stupid people should wear signs. That way you wouldn't ask any questions. You know, I was wondering about your... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your sign. Here's your sign. Seriously, stupid people. We don't stand a chance for change. ANC partners will find a way. Why do we expect they to hold on to GNU but land-based them for their lack of power fighting alone? Surely they need to box clever. John Klein, okay, I'm trying to go with your comment. What do you mean? So what's the clever part of what they're doing? Let me just run through the list of things, okay? I'll allow for the fact that maybe the government of national unity is the right path for the DA. I'll accept that, okay? But under the government of national unity, legislation that was passed by the parliament in the previous administration but was signed into law during this administration with them as a member of the government of national unity include the following: expropriation without compensation, the theft of land legally from people immorally, the same thing the apartheid government did, simply replicating history. That doesn't make them right, it makes them immoral and illegitimate. What else? The Basic Education Laws Amendment Act, which forces the 94% of South African children who don't speak English to go to first grade and learn in English. Why aren't the Xhosa, why aren't the Venda, why aren't the Swati up in arms? Only the Afrikaners are upset about this. People are dim-witted. Your children are going to start school. Your children are going to start school at a huge disadvantage. Ja, das sind normalerweise die gleichen Leute, die sind ziemlich laut hinter mir. Ja, die haben bemerkt, dass ich hier und was ich mache, und die sitzen hinter mir und ja, so laut, als ob die im Club sind. Das ist ja ärgerlich. Ja, wir sind hier im Publikum, ich kann gar nichts dagegen sagen. Aber man kann darüber denken, was für Leute darüber sprechen. Yeah. Anyway, back to the chat. So, see how he's not in his bed, he's dancing around the camp. Yeah, I agree. Any manufacturer of Browning also built new manufacturing plants to minimize reliance on European manufacturers. True. Results job also already showing. Beggars are getting demanding and threatening. They harass women by following them shop to shop. I'm not surprised. They can't understand why our government does not want to establish great trade relations so our country will flourish. Robert Oliver, absolutely. And in fact, it has had a chance to flourish for 30 years as the U.S. gave the ANC a free pass. Look, ladies and gentlemen, time stopped on April 27, 1994 for most liberals and most people in the developed world. They did. Kumbaya, 12-hour queues to vote for the first time. 99-year-old go-go's standing there voting for the first time in life. It was inspiring, absolutely inspiring. But the problem is that's where history stopped. It's like Francis Fukuyama, the end of history. It was essentially the end of history. The Western world sees South Africa through a lens of Mandela, the Rainbow Nation, April 27, 1994. Not the racist kleptocracy that it's become. People are stuck in a time warp, a time bubble. And the people talk to me today, I think, are stuck in the warp. So they asked this question. So, isn't it okay to have things like DEI and to have affirmative action, to have BE in South Africa to balance the scales? I said, no. Why do you punish people born after apartheid? The magic sauce about America is that the history of this nation is that we are not victims of the sins of our fathers and mothers. We are products of ourselves. And you are responsible for your own actions. And as Dr. King said, we judge you based on the content of your character, not the color of your skin, or your origin, or what your ancestors did. They have nothing to do with you. And I said, that's the magic sauce of America. But unfortunately, that's not the magic sauce of South Africa. 60% of South Africa, nearly 60% have been born after apartheid now. Why are you holding kids who have nothing to do with apartheid responsible for it because of their skin color? That's racist. How do people not see that that's racist? Sorry for the late check-in. Dog thrashed a porcupine. Oh my goodness, that sucks. Yeah, South Africa is very low on the priority list. Bedtime, says Lindy. That's why America is where it's at and South Africa's not. You inspired me to learn foreign languages during my election coverage last. The elections I've currently attempted. You've attempted 9, Cody? Well, you're impressing me. I've never attempted 9. That's pretty cool. Imagine punishing someone just for the tone of their skin. It's called racism. That's what it's called. Thank you, Alan. Yeah, spot on, because that's the reality. You totally dissolve Parliament, get rid of these useless government politicians and ministers. Maintenant, il y a quelqu'un derrière moi qui parle notre langue, il est étranger des États-Unis, et pas maintenant parce qu'il sait que je suis là, je parle pour mon transmission, l'émission. Maintenant, il parle très, très fort, très fort. Once somebody says it as it is. Yes, Corey, I've always said as it is. That's the problem. That's why I'm not electable. That's why I probably haven't been called up to the Trump administration. Now, I don't tell the emperor he's naked in front of people. I'll tell the emperor he's naked, not wearing clothes, behind closed doors. I'm not stupid. But I'm not going to tolerate bigotry and racism. It was wrong under apartheid. It's wrong under the ANC. Simple as that. Done and dusted. Piece of cake. It's not complicated. Not right at all. It's just so comical. So on my video in which I reported the farm murder, I got attacked. Well, the wife and the son are murdered him. That's not the point. The point wasn't that. The point is that the government has allowed rural insecurity to persist because they don't take it seriously. And so I made a video, and they're like, oh, you can't be changing your tune now. I didn't change my tune. You didn't listen. You heard what you wanted to hear. And then, why don't you ever report on black farmers being murdered? I do. Why don't you pay attention to my channel? I find it fascinating with social media that people distill the entire essence of a person that's lived 6 decades and has fought multiple conflicts, lived in 16 countries, accomplished so much, done so many things, interacted with millions of people, to distill who they are and what they're about into 2 sentences from a tweet or from a couple minutes they watch on a video. As if everything I've done didn't get done. When I reported on the black commercial or cattle farmer in the Free State who was shot in the head, no one was loving the upcoming ANC big chat. I bet he is. They don't remember that. When I report about the Indian mother who was 4 months pregnant and her throat was cut in the Ayub farm in KZN, they don't report on that. When I report on Sifatso Pule, 9 months pregnant, hung from a tree, murdered by her lover on a murder for hire, they don't care about that. But if I mention a white farmer, oh, he's a racist. He must be an AWB supporter. What a bunch of stupid people. Truly stupid. I mean, that's why people should wear signs. You know, I think I'm gonna get a shirt that says "I'm with stupid" and it's gonna put arrows both directions, because the world's full of stupid people. It truly is. It's also sad that the most Sapphists have become ignorant, complacent heads under a rock. Well, Alan, I think that's true for a lot of people. Give him lots of TLC. Oh, the dog. It's not been killed in a different way. It's different races getting killed. Don't be surprised if you find my orange FEMA tent. Fabian, you'll have no FEMA tent. I think we dispelled those rumors when my visit to Earl. I went to his home. I don't think that Annika Larson was invited to his home. I could be wrong. I didn't ask. But I went to his home. I had dinner, broke bread with his family, his kids, and his son-in-law, daughter. Yep. Who's going to help the South Africans get rid of these corrupt politicians? Pearl, I mean, look, no one helped us get rid of our corrupt politicians. We still got a bunch of them. We went to the ballot box and got rid of them. But in South Africa, you all have a disease. It's called DAism. Yeah, it's called DAism. Don't vote for smaller parties because it's a vote for the ANC. What a bunch of horsemen are. What a bunch of horsemen are. So if half of you vote for the DA, vote for the Freedom Plus. The Freedom Plus goes from a 2.5% party to a 15% party. Think about it. It's the kind of influence. The DA will be humbled, and they'll be forced to backtrack from their nonsense. Across the party floor, yep. Hey, Ingrid, what's going on? Yes, that was one thing, as I said, I was asked questions in my interview, and I said, South Africa, the tensions are, I've made 5 trips since 2022, and each time it gets worse. It's really bad now. I even told the case of the woman who went to the Pick and Pay, and she walked out with her infant, and she was accosted by a black guy. Give me your keys, F off to America. Sutu Nationals being trained, Eastern Front, something's going on. Vanner, confirmed by whom? I've read the newspaper reports. Still digesting that story. Yeah, Narita, well, there's more than a couple gold nuggets, and wait till you see the other 2 interviews, which are on my mobile, which I'll publish probably tonight or tomorrow. Depends how tired I am and whether it's time to, I'll probably time to do a live stream when I get home. But I suspect when I get to Detroit, the Motor City, I will probably do another, sorry, I was interrupted. I love, so we got a kid sitting here, a teenager riding around in a wheelchair. They're pushing him around. He doesn't need a wheelchair. They're just being silly. And they came over and interrupted my conversation. Anyway. They just pushed up tariffs in Cape Town. Okay, there's no tariffs, PE. Okay, let me clarify something here. The tariffs don't apply to South Africa, folks. The tariffs are on your goods sent to America. So the only people paying more would be me, if in fact the price goes up. You don't pay anything more in South Africa. So prices might have gone up in Cape Town, but it has nothing to do with tariffs. If someone's telling you in South Africa the prices increased because of tariffs, they're a liar. If anything, the price in South Africa should go down because of tariffs. Why? Because now you have a surplus of goods that you can't ship to America and nobody's going to buy them. So when there's more supply than demand, the price drops. It's pretty simple. Adam Smith made this very clear 3 centuries ago. So, if the prices have gone up in Cape Town, it has nothing to do with tariffs. It has to do with people gouging for prices or their costs have gone up. Nothing to do with tariffs. It's East London when I was growing up. Yeah, I left 20 years ago and went back once. The change was sobering. How bizarre to see the black apartheid government propped up by a party who are happy to see white, colored, and Indians persecuted. It is bizarre. How bizarre. How bizarre. Oh, baby, you're driving me crazy every time I look at you. How bizarre, how bizarre. Relationship between Trump and Musk is the moment. I don't know Netvek and I don't really care. It's not a really important relationship. People make a lot more out of it than they think, than they need to. Your videos on Umusi and at least 1-2 kilometers from us. Let's rock the community. So, El Marie, I'm so sorry to hear about that. I know he's that close to you. Someone else came out last night and said he was a high school friend. Yep, looks like my video is frozen. Come on, freeze. I'm trying to pause it. Maybe let's talk about electricity tariffs. Okay, okay, thank you. That's important because we're talking about tariffs from U.S. goods. Thank you. Yeah, you use tariffs in look, I'm sorry, South Africa. You don't speak English properly. Neither do English. We have to fix everybody's English. It's so broken. Tariffs are not what you pay in South Africa. That's your cost of electricity. That's the price of electricity. A friend, I'm talking about a cleaning tariff. Oh, thank you, P. A cleaning tariff. That's a fee. We call those fees. See, okay, guys, it's not a robot. Robot is R2D2. A robot is not a traffic signal, okay? You're the only people in the world who say robot, okay? Okay, how bizarre. That's right. How bizarre, how bizarre. Oh, baby, you're driving me crazy every time I look around. What a great song. I miss that song, man. It's a good one. OMC, yeah. Yep. Good stuff. It's in my face. How bizarre. How bizarre. I love that song. It's good stuff, man. Okay, they're going to buy from other countries because they say it won't be competitive anymore. Yeah, we're going to buy from other countries. So we'll get our BMWs from Germany or Alabama, where they're manufactured. We won't get them from South Africa. We will buy our wine from Germany, Chile, or Australia, or California, not from South Africa. Or people just pay the extra money. I mean, so I just spent $100 on wine and Amarula, 2 bottles of Amarula, which is $29. When the tariffs come into effect, I'm going to go see if they raise the prices. I'll go watch to see if they raise prices from 29 to, if it's 40%, then it should be 4 times 4, 16. So that should make it $30 or $46 a bottle. Thing of South African English is you learn to spell like the British and pronounce like Americans. That's a good point. That's a good point. You learn the spelling correctly and you pronounce it correctly. Anyway, so 4 o'clock, I fly. I start getting up. Hang on a second. Let me look and see. 4:35. So I still got another hour and a half before I have to board. Okay. I think that this is frozen. My chat's frozen here too because it hasn't advanced for a while. So let me see. Ja, es ist ein Araber hinter mir, kein Französisch. Es ist ein Araber, er spricht Arabisch. Viele Ausländer hier bei uns in den Vereinigten Staaten, viele Millionen von Ausländern, viele Illegalen und auch Legalen. Ja. Einwanderer und Kriminal. Die beide sind hier bei uns in unserer beliebten Vereinigten Staaten. Son corrects me lately in my Afrikaans English. He's fluent American, not like the Afrikaans. I cannot open this up. It's been difficult. Yep, YouTube is acting up again. Let me see. Why does that keep opening? I keep closing this damn program. It keeps opening up. I'm going to disinstall it or uninstall if it keeps its crap up. This is very annoying. By the way, I got a nasty message from YouTube, not YouTube, from Yahoo telling me my email's full. Telling me I'm going to lose my email if I don't get rid of it. I got 400,000 messages in there telling me I got to delete mail. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. Suddenly I only get 20 gigabytes of storage space. When did that happen? YouTube. Okay, I think is my internet dead here? What's going on here? I'm not getting anything now. It says I've got internet. Okay, there it goes, finally. Well, it took a little while there. Proper qualified business leaders and religious leaders to take over. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? That'd be good. Wow, the YouTube, it's very slow. I hope it's not affecting the broadcast. I hope you're not getting a fuzzy broadcast now. That would suck. By the way, I bought some stuff, so check it out, folks. Look what I got. Look what I got. Roll Tide. Alabama Crimson Tide. Look at that, man. He's got a juju nose there, man. Julius Malema nose. All right, and I picked this up too earlier. Roll Tide, man. Alabama Crimson Tide. Thank you, Cindy. For those who are still up, I'll probably do a live from Detroit, from the Motor City of Detroit. And then I picked this up as well. Haha, you guys are gonna like this one. You're gonna like this one. Check it out. It's my friend. I am Groot. I am Groot. I love Groot, man. He's awesome. He's awesome. Yeah. And there's a magnet or somewhere there. I got a magnet here. Then I went to another store and I picked this up. This is not a big deal. Most of you won't know this. University of Alabama, Birmingham. There you go. Trailblazers. Anyway, got myself a fruit doll. Loving it, man. Whoops. That came out of the bag. That's not supposed to happen. So, fruit. Yeah, fruit is cool, man. Okay, this page is not loading. This is something seriously wrong over here. Every time I look around, it's driving me crazy. Set later. What the hell's going on here? New Copilot. I don't want Copilot. I just want to get to YouTube to see if it's... Okay, it's not the internet. Let's see. YouTube. No, it's my browser. It's acting up. That loaded. So it's my browser. It doesn't like things. I can't crash it because I need it with all these tabs for these stories I need to work on. Okay, now it's loading my email. Got a new window. Let me see if I can't get YouTube now. Try it one more time. Okay, so sorry about that, folks. Very difficult to keep up with things. It's taking a long time here. Lady teddy bear with glowing eyes. I'll leave my window still. Sharpie new hat, or I just say cap. It depends. Some people call those hats. Most people, but it's actually not technically a hat. It's a cap. Yeah, a hat would be something different, more formal. Oh, this is not going well here. YouTube, I cannot get into it. Come on. What the hell? Let me try another browser, see if I'm logged in on Brave. Do I have Brave on here? No. There's Brave. Yeah, I do have Brave. Chrome as well. Let's try that. That's crazy. Ugh. Oh, come on. It wants me to sign in, but it's not playing nice. YouTube. Okay. I don't want that. Ugh, come on. That's Colonel, not Colonel Kurtz, I want Colonel Chris Wyatt. Getting warm here. There we go. I am live. Trump's State Department brings down the hammer. So this report's a big deal, guys. State Department brings down the hammer. See, it won't let me in my damn thing, but it lets me watch it. That's annoying. See in the dark, my power. I'm sorry to hear that, awkward man. That sucks. In baseball, they call it a cap. That's correct. Or a trucker cap. Yep. Trump says, yeah, Mad Max, you're a bit late to the party. We talked about that. You must have been out doing patrols. Yeah, Trump says he's not going to the G20, so I'll cover that as well. So, yep. And the trade minister says they're negotiating. They're not negotiating. That's just a lie. Hey, Nia, what's going on? Final boarding call. Kept sick. Sure, buy a stuffed Hadida for you once in the States. I can do without the stuffed Hadidas. Yeah, my stuffed Hadida will be a live one that I shoot and stuff. I'm going to sell stuffed animals. You say the Colonel will most probably be my biggest customer. My stories begin as letters. My pen is my wonderland. My word is my water. Okay. Amarillo sounds like a cream. No, it's Amarula. Amarula. It's like Bailey's. Amarula is like Bailey's, except it's better. Okay. More than once, YouTube just wouldn't let me say anything in chat. It just made an X against my name. Yeah, that's because your data connection isn't connected. That's what the X means. Yep, the robot lady speaking in. Okay. Yeah, good to see you there, Mad Max. I'll be on again when I get to Detroit if things go well. So let me. Am I in? I can't remember. I think I'm in. Yeah, I'm in Brave. I'm not in. So Brave let me get in, but Firefox is not playing nice. New window. Yeah, something's wrong with Firefox. It's Firefox. Anyway, so I'm not logged in the other account, so I can't even shut it down. So anyway, I'm going to make a couple videos here about stuff going on. I'll go get a Frappuccino from Starbucks. This lady is still walking. She must be racking up. That's got to be about 20,000 steps now. Are you up to about 20,000 steps already?
Yeah. keep going though.
I hear you. Yeah, so she's walking all over the place, back and forth in the airport, that lady. She keeps walking all over. That's like the 1,000th time I've seen her go by. Yikes. Get some marula, plant them in Texas. I'm not in Texas. Yeah, amarula's good, man. Put it on ice. Yeah, yes. Crushed ice is good. Yeah, so I'll be having some amarula later this week because I bought 2 bottles and I got them back at the house. 2 bottles at the house. I paid 29 bucks a pop for those bottles. That's expensive, man. Very expensive. Yep. Anyway, so YouTube is not, or not YouTube, but Firefox is not playing nice. I don't know what the problem with it is. Don't know what the problem is. Is she a spy? I doubt that, Anna Marie. It's a very ineffective spying technique to walk in front of me 100 times so I see you. It's not a very effective technique for a spy. Okay. Oh, I'm in. Look at that. It's working again. Okay, I'm back in the studio. Wow, that took a while. I'm going to freeze it here. Okay, good. Camels get priority boarding. Only in Saudi Arabia. A tot of amarula in coffee warms you up right in winter. Okay. Okay. It was cheaper in DRC than South Africa. Yeah, it was cheaper in Botswana too. I used to get it for like $6 a bottle. It's 29 here. That's insane. Well, you should do everything in moderation, Virtual Western Cape. No one should overindulge in anything. You know? Gute Reise, says Sam Ismail. Ja, vielen Dank. Das ist aber nett von Ihnen. Ja, hier kommt zum Flugzeug von Delta draußen. Ja, auf dem Flugbahn. Chris can't drink that cock. Dom Pedro, no. I've had Osbach. I've had Bacardi. I've had Jim Beam. A whole bunch of them. You're having the amarula on my stoop. My neighbor, if my neighbor lets you in, then he's gonna be very sorry he did that. Okay, it's too wet in Pennsylvania for amarula trees. Yep. Best spies hide in plain sight. Yes, but then I'll make you stare and drool at them all day. That doesn't work at all. Hiding in plain sight is because you're not noticed in plain sight. You don't become obvious in plain sight. It kind of defeats the purpose. Kind of defeats the purpose. Anyway, just saying, folks. 454 likes. Can we push that up a little bit higher? So I took Earl Langton and his wife Jay to the Birmingham Barons baseball game, and they were the champions of the Southern League last year. So they have this commemorative cup when you get with drinks. Earl insisted on buying me a drink, and I was getting a little dehydrated, so I got a Coke. It's a diuretic, but still filled me up. And I got myself a little souvenir cup. Go along with the hundreds of other ones I had back at home, but yep. Yep. Anyway, pretty cool stuff. Oh no, I thought that was a drink. No, I definitely haven't had that. I don't like Kahlua. Kahlua does nothing for me. I don't like alcohol generally speaking. I just don't drink much of it. I don't get the need for it. A nice, social drink if you're sitting in a hotel, just relaxing people, I get it, but I don't really get the drinking thing. I stopped drinking a long time ago. Not because I'm a teetotaler, just because I didn't get anything out of it. It didn't really do anything for me. Well, so lots of people are walking. I didn't notice this. Yep, there's another one walking here. These people love walking back and forth to the airport. It's pretty cool. So she's walking back and forth. She's been here, that's like her 10th pass now in the last 10 minutes. Oops, sorry, I don't know if you could see that. Anyway, raspberry and chocolate amarula is amazing. I haven't had that. Carbonated water can rehydrate you, absolutely. The problem here, I know what the problem is that the security software keeps saying the certificate's no good for the Wi-Fi. It's public. Sake sucks. I don't like ouzo, I don't like grappa, I don't like sake. That stuff just burns your gut. That stuff, oof. Yeah, I had sake when I was in Japan. So, Selling Law says you can't evict if someone is already sleeping in your stoop. Well, Fabian Borger, that's South African law. That's not Pennsylvania law. I've got a 12 gauge that has your name on it, okay? Get off my lawn. I'm sure sake is great with sushi. That's kind of the whole intent. Don't drink it all, but we'll have a Don Pedro once in Blue Moon, okay? Beaumont is in Cornwall. I'll go through a bottle of amarula a month. She thinks it's excessive. One a month is probably not too bad. Corey. I think you should keep that camera turned to the ladies. We'll listen to you while we keep an eye on the passersby. I don't think people appreciate that. I don't think they'll appreciate that. We did watch a game at Regents Field. That's correct. And it was a boring game, I must say. It was no score until the 7th inning, I think it was, when, or maybe 6th inning, when the Barons finally drove a run across. And then they scored late in the game in the 8th inning, and they wound up winning 4-0. So, and then at the end of the game, it was family night, so the kids got to run the bases, which was pretty cool. Lots of people enjoyed that. So, sorry, lots of people enjoyed that. I raised my voice. Hey, Charles Van Onselen, the voice of reason, has showed up. A little bit late to the program, but you're here nonetheless. We haven't seen Paulie. He keeps claiming to be the brains behind the operation, but he must be the deep brains because he's almost never here chatting. Anyway, folks, I'm going to knock off here and go get myself a Frappuccino and then make those short videos about Trump not coming to the G20, and also the one about Parks Tao saying that South Africa's negotiating when we know they're not. It's just it's a comical lie. Every state has many stadiums. I mean, I have a stadium in Harrisburg. I have a stadium in Hershey, a stadium in Lancaster, a stadium in York. These are all stadiums within 20 minutes of me, right there. And that's not even including university stadiums. That's just, professional sports. All right. Okay, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks for being here. Jack Bagels. Okay. Look at the tire assault, white couple in our family. The assault. I saw that. I haven't seen the whole video, but I saw that the officials are trying to excuse it, saying people need to see the whole video. I didn't see anything. I saw people assaulted because of their skin color. I mean, those people are racist. They should be prosecuted for the bogus civil rights laws that we have. And if they're civil rights laws, they should apply to all Americans, not just select people. So go after them and get them for hate crimes and all the other nonsense we pile on people. Yep. All right, that's going to do it, folks. 24 hours, no power in Hermanus. That's crazy. All right, to the car guards out there, I left my car in the park house with Hertz because it's their car. So, I mean, you don't need to guard my car tonight, okay? Cheers, everybody. God bless. I'll see you a little bit later when I get to Detroit. Cheers, cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks. Hit the like button. Get me to 500. We're at 487. Thank you. Thanks for the super chats. Bye-bye.